Hi everyone, welcome back. I did not intend to take like 2-3 weeks away from YouTube after my last video, especially because it's the biggest video I've ever had out, accidentally, and I gained a ton of new subscribers. Hello. I think you're all going to be sorely disappointed because that is literally, I think, the first time I've dropped the F-bomb in a video. Not saying it won't happen again, I'm just saying it's not a regular occurrence, and I generally sit and chat shit about skincare, so if that's your bag, welcome, and if it's not, you're welcome, but you're going to be bored. A couple of words on the follow-up to that Kylie video. I have been updated 400 million times by everyone telling me that she is now indeed doing an SPF. That is wonderful. I would also just mention, especially to my friends in the USA, the SPF rules and guidelines, and I can dwell on this forever, there is an upcoming blog post about it, but all of the SPF rules and guidelines that have ever been made were made for white Caucasian people. If you are anything darker than basically me, I'm olive skinned, if you have any other background and it shows in your skin colour that is not just white Caucasian, the SPF rules may be slightly tweaked for you. I'm going to link to my friend Deja below. She is the queen. She has a brilliant resource in the UK called the Black Skin Directory, and she's just, there's nothing she doesn't know. So I'm going to link to her, but just bear that in mind. You maybe don't need to be wearing an SPF 50 every day if you have a certain skin tone. I've gone completely off on another tangent. This is more what it's like with me on a weekly basis. Okay, Joe Rogan. Guys, I love Joe Rogan. Obviously the reason it came up when I was searching Kylie is because I've watched Joe Rogan for years and he's obviously in my Google search. But I am not of the whole generation where everything is black and white. You know, just because I called him out on something doesn't mean I don't respect a lot of what he does, not all of it. Some of it I think, oh, stop yourself. And some of it is sexist bullshit. But I'm not going to sit here and feel rage about how they talk about women. And equally, I'm not a huge, massive defender of the Kardashians. I watch the show, if it's on. In LA, it's like wallpaper. It's on all day, every single day. But I've called them out publicly because they make some horrific choices with their advertising. All that skinny detox shit. I mean, so it swings and roundabouts. I found Peter Attia through Joe Rogan. Peter Attia is the king of intermittent fasting, and he's a doctor and he's a genius. And so I still watch Joe Rogan, but me saying you're being a douche, it's not really what I said, I was a bit harsher, doesn't mean he's cancelled or I'm too old to use the term cancelled. The only tea I spill is if I've dropped it and it's actually physically tea. I'm too old for all these sayings, I don't do it. I just, you were being a dick, so I said, you're being a dick. Doesn't mean he's cancelled, doesn't mean I don't watch him. Equally, Kylie Jenner, make better skincare and stop advertising detox, skinny, liver cleanse bullshit products. Then we'd all be much happier, I'm sure. I had some strange requests from new subscribers wanting me to critique other people's skincare routines. That's not for me. I'm not interested in trying to... First of all, I've always said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You might use 5 products I hate and detest and say you should never touch. And you might have glorious skin. Why would I interfere? What have I to gain by sitting, looking at you like I'm some almighty queen going, don't use that. I'll do that with Love Island. I don't watch Love Island, but I get tagged in it every single day when they pull out the wipes. But that's different. So I'm not going to do any where I critique other people's routines because I get enough criticism on YouTube and I know it's not nice. However, on that point, I would say the comments after the Kylie / Joe Rogan video, as it's now known in the office, were 99% positive. Then there was maybe 20% from Southern ladies, members of the conservative group, who were annoyed that I used a curse word. You should meet me in real life, love. That's all I've got to say to that. And then a few boys who probably still live in their mother's basement and play Destiny all day. This was my favourite one. Are you ready? This is a real comment. I didn't post it because I have the delete option. His name is Judgmental. See what he did there? I see what you did there, mate. I do. You're a passive aggressive. I mean, he used the correct context of you apostrophe R-E. You're a passive aggressive fat lump of shit, yellow haired, creepy middle-aged windbag. Now that one I screen grabbed and sent to the entire team. That's very entertaining. Thank you so much. And also, you fat, old, disgusting whore. Well, I don't know about you, mate, but old is the goal. Where do you think you're going to be in 20 years' time? Old is the goal. So, now that we've further discussed that, let's move on to the Q&A. So what I thought was, I've got these new subscribers. You probably have no idea who I am. And I was due to do a new Q&A anyway, but I had to get my niece to help because I thought, I'll just screen grab the pictures, it'll be fine. That's the easiest way to do it. Look, these are all individual questions. Yeah. See? Relentless. So she's cherry-picked ones, and the good thing is, they might have a few of the old ones and a few new ones, but I just thought it would be fun. Okay, what's your background upbringing story? I've done this a lot, so if you've ever watched my In the Bathroom with Sally Hughes, I talk about on a podcast with Giovanna Fletcher that I just did recently. But in short, my mum is American, my dad is English, my grandfather was a GI, he met my grandmother in Liverpool in the 40s, took my grandmother back to Mississippi, had my mother, long story. They moved back to Liverpool, she met my dad, they got married and had me, then we moved to Mississippi. So yes, I'm actually probably 25% American, but 50% American if you look at passports. And I did 5 to 6 years in Mississippi. I make it sound like I was doing time. Mississippi is a very beautiful place with some challenges. Let's just call it that, shall we? I have family in Mississippi, I have family in Tennessee. You are in Tennessee, aren't you, Janet? Yes. I also have family in, can't remember where you live, Anne, sorry. And that's kind of it. And then we moved back, and then I moved to London when I was 17 and met the mister when I was 19. I've been stuck here ever since. This is the important question though. How do you pronounce your surname? My surname is Hirons. Not Hirons, like Trini would say. Not Hirons, Hirons. Like almost one syllable, Hirons. That's how you say my name. So when I'm in France, I am called Madame Caroline Hirons. That's not my name, Brian. My name is Caroline Hirons. All the I's. Take note, Trini Woodall, it's not Hirons. Thank you. What is Hello with Hirons? Now, this is obviously for new people who have picked me up on Instagram. Hello with Hirons is now the stuff of legend. There is a magazine called Hello Magazine in the UK. I am 2 magazines behind. I'll try and do them this weekend. And I started for fun going through it, reviewing it, because it has a certain formula that it follows and it is very entertaining. That's all I can say really. So if you go on to my Instagram, I think I've got a couple of them saved as stories. They're not very comprehensive. Some of them are, the funniest ones are when I'm just like ranting, but it's not malicious. It's just a running funny commentary. So the first interview is always with a person you've never heard of. There are society pages with parties you are too poor to attend. It's in that vein. What are your top 3 songs, books and films? That's a big question. Top 3 books. My favourite book is To Kill a Mockingbird. That's probably easiest. Top 3 films, it's too hard. We are a very media-driven family. I would pick, my life would be family, music, food, and my job. That's the order it would go in. And telly. Telly's got to be in there too. Top 3 songs. I think the most played songs on my iPod, I was going to say on my Walkman then, that's how old I am, would be New Religion by Duran Duran, Venice Queen by the Chili Peppers, and then any other 50 billion songs, I don't know. And films, it's impossible to say. There are films you appreciate because they are amazing to watch. There are films I'm never legally allowed to watch again, like Terms of Endearment, because I cried so much I thought I was going to have a stroke. But yeah, I mean, that's like too hard for me. It'd be easier to pick 3 cleansers because we are very media, we're a media family. Describe the first time you met Simon Le Bon. Well, actually, The first time I met Simon Le Bon was when I was working in the Aveda counter in Harvey Nichols over 20 years ago, and he came in with Yasmin and 2 of their kids that they had at the time and asked me for Equipoise body wash, and I had to keep it together. And there he was, stood in front of me with his wife, who was even more attractive in real life, and his kids running around trashing my counter, which, by the way, kudos to Yasmin, she pulled them in line straight away. Come here. I like that. And I tried to keep myself together. And every time I've met him since then, I've tried to keep myself together, and it all goes horribly wrong. Maybe I'll flash up a picture of me meeting him last time. You can tell I'm kind of going, I am actually dying inside. I'm dying. Best concert experience, I couldn't even begin. Too many. I just got back from Bon Jovi. They just played Liverpool, Anfield, and they last played Liverpool 33 years ago. I was also at that gig. I have been going to gigs since I was 11 years old. It is my favourite pastime. But I couldn't even, I've done gigs like, I saw the Foo Fighters in a pub in Camden. I saw the Chili Peppers, again, in a pub in Camden. The first gig when John Frusciante came back to the band, his first gig back, I was there for that. So music is like my thing. So impossible to say. Usually your best concert experience is the one you've just been to. Bon Jovi were wicked. There is a little clip on my Instagram if you want to go and see. What's been your career journey? Now this is a really long one, and I think I'm better off linking below to either Sally's video or, again, maybe not even Giovanna's podcast, because that's more about being a mum. But I did loads of other various bits and pieces of jobs. I got a Saturday Sunday girl on a Saturday Sunday. I was a Saturday Sunday girl for Aveda in Harvey Nichols in I want to say it was between 95 and 97. Daniel was little, and he's now 25. Then I went to Space NK, then I went to Chantecaille, and from there it just went on, and then I started consulting. If you didn't get into skin, what other career would you have had? I don't know. I used to think I'd want to be a midwife until I had kids, and then I was like, oh, I can't be down the business end of that transaction. I honestly don't know, because it's all I remember doing, and I love doing it. What's your favourite self-care, unwinding thing to do? Go to gigs, listen to music, and watch SVU in my kitchen while I'm cooking. How do you handle criticism? Well, you read it out to everyone on YouTube and laugh about it. How do you handle transforming into a public figure? I don't think I am at all. I think it's nice when I get recognised, usually in a beauty area. If I walk through a department store or anywhere where they sell skincare, I'm usually recognised. But it must be much harder when you're much younger. I can imagine it being very strange if you're like 20 and you kind of have a little bit of a public persona, but I don't even think about it, because I remember when I did my first ever big in-store event, I did an event for Clinique, this is years ago, in their pop-up store in Covent Garden, which I think is now a permanent store. And we had to stay open we had to keep the doors locked, but we had to let people in, and we were there until 10 o'clock at night, and the store had closed at 8, and all the staff, God bless them, stayed with me. I got home just after 10:30, and I'd been talking to people all day and having my picture taken all day and signing Clinique Take the Day Off cleansers all day. And I walked in and my husband Jim went, "Oh, do us a favour, love, Max is pissed all over the floor, sort it out and I'll make you a brew." There you go. That's how you handle it. Best advice you've ever received, life, career and motherhood. I don't know. Best advice you've received. Oh, actually, the one that ties in with the previous question too was what someone thinks of you has nothing to do with you. That's actually quite helpful when you are doing this kind of transaction across social media. Who was it that said you can be the nicest bunch of peaches in the world, but there'll be someone who doesn't like peaches? Fair play. You can't make everyone happy. Not everyone's going to like you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means they don't like you. Get over it. Move on. Motherhood, I don't know, because motherhood I kind of just soldiered through. I was 22 when I had son number 1, as he's known in the house, Ben. So yeah, and what I will do is link to Giovanna Fletcher's podcast below, because I do talk a lot about motherhood in that. What would you say advice to your younger self? I would say, don't bite your tongue so much and tell those bitches that you used to work for what you really think of them. Dinner party dream guests. Okay, I could do this. Oprah. Ugh, gotta be Oprah. Oh God. Do they have to be alive or dead? This is the thing. Because if they're dead people, I would have Michael Hutchence, Jeff Buckley sitting next to Oprah, who obviously is not dead. I wouldn't have Simon and Bonnet at my dinner table because I wouldn't be able to talk properly. By the way, the whole thing with Simon and Bonnet is because I was a 13-year-old granny. It's not a sexy thing. It's a I was 12 and 13 thing. I don't look at him and have sexual feelings. I look at him and go, oh, Simon. And if you're a granny, you'll know what I mean. Michael Hutchence, however, from In Excess, different story. What hobby have you always wanted to try but have yet to? What's on the bucket list? Nothing really. It's not that I'm lazy, I'm just very happy with my lot. Hobby you've always wanted to try? I genuinely cannot think of something because I think I would have done it. Bucket list. Again, I don't really think about the bucket list. I know a lot of people do, but usually it's things like I want to go travelling and I want to do this and that, and I'm not that bothered. I like my life. Doesn't mean I'd turn down travel. If Jim and I say, well, let's go to so-and-so. We like going to Italy a lot, good food. How did you meet Mr. H? We met either in the Marquee or in a pub called the Wheat Sheaf in Fulham, which is now a Sainsbury's local. Gentrification. We can't remember. But it was 30 years ago today that we had our first date. Yes, it was indeed, 30 years ago today. If you hadn't have met him, would you have proposed to Simon Le Bon? Well, I doubt it, because Simon Le Bon was already married to one of the most gorgeous creatures in the world, Yazzers. And I didn't propose to Jim either, I just told him he had to marry me. Not quite the same thing. Favourite colour and why? Red, because it always has been. It just is. My entire living room is red. It's my favourite football team. Red. All shades of red. Actually, that's not true. I don't like tomato red. No, but red. This is a good red. Red. Sirens with Hirons. Also another hashtag if you're new. Fave dream destination. Well, we go to Italy a lot. I don't mean we're there every weekend. I just mean when we have a holiday, we go, should we go to Italy? Because, to be honest, when you've got young children, they'll eat all the food. You can't say that in a lot of places in Europe, but you go to Italy, they just eat pasta for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Done. Oh, nice. What's your favourite thing about each of your children? Is there a difference when raising boys and girls? If you've followed me for a while, you will know the answer to that question. Favourite thing about each of your children? Ben is intuitive and sensitive, and my firstborn baby, obviously, so that's special, and is obsessed with being a better person. It's also very devilishly handsome. Daniel is the one that looks the most like me, but he acts the most like his dad, so that's a bit of a mind trick, but he looks the exact image of my family, and he was like my cuddly second baby, and he's so funny. Daniel is the funny one of the family, he's also incredibly handsome. They're both available, by the way, ladies. Daniel's also really, really protective. I think if Ava, who was child number 3, daughter, was in trouble, she'd call him first. Yeah, they're all just good, sensitive kids. We'll do Ava in a minute. Max is my baby. And again, just a good kid, funny, sensitive, whip smart, wants to be my head of IT. I'm like, we'll finish school first, babe, yeah? And then Ava. Ava is like me on speed with the body of a supermodel and my confidence at 17. It's terrifying. So yes, in answer to your question, is there a difference when raising boys and girls? Yes, because boys, from my point of view, I can speak only as a mother, I can't speak for Jim. Boys tend to love their mum. You don't get much aggro. They're always open for a hug and a kiss and a cuddle. Well, I kind of put my arms around the big ones and my head is on their chest, but I'm like, oh, love you. And they're like, yeah, all right, mum, now move. And then Ava is fiery, passionate, hormonal, but I feel such a kinship with Ava because I've been there. I have been a hormonal teenager. But again, she's super whip smart, fiercely independent, always has been. Literally came out and was like, hi, my name's Ava, nice to meet you, you're going to be my parents. It was that kind of deal. So yeah, to me, when people say you know you couldn't possibly have a favourite child, yes you can. Depends on the day, depends on who's annoyed you, and each one is your favourite for different reasons. So Ben was my firstborn, Daniel looks the most like my family and he's the one that makes me laugh probably the most. Ava's my only girl, Max is my baby. Like every parent will tell you, there is always something about all of your kids that makes them just ugh. My favourite saying is, having kids, and especially because I've had 4, is like the 4 chambers of your heart are out there walking around without you and you never get them back again. And that is so true. Best mum moment. Oh, I don't know, there's been too many. My family's insane. Just, they're funny and they're smart and they challenge us all the time. We do not get away with anything. So they give us a hard time, but they are fiercely polite and respectful to their grandparents, for example, or people in business or people in the corner shop. My boys are gentlemen, you know. So best mum moment is basically they're all fed, they're all still here, and as Chris Rock says, they're not on drugs and they're not in jail. Lovely. What's it like working with your children family? That's a challenge, because if I call up and go, where are you, aren't you in work? And they're like, oh yeah, I was waiting for a delivery. I'm not going to fire them, am I? So that's the only challenge. What is your zodiac sign? I am a Leo. I'm a Leo. I am on the cusp with Cancer, whatever that means to you. Can you tell a funny story about Penny and Monty? No, they're just cats. They are mentalists. For example, here's your example. Penny sat on the bed with me the other night, thought her tail was the enemy, chased her tail, caught it and fell off the bed backwards. Idiot. Tips on making a proper cuppa, best tea bags. Well, I like Twining's English breakfast, but I now drink decaf. On advice actually tied in with the next question, so I'll save that. Tips on making a proper cuppa: you bring it to the boil, you pour it on just off the boil, you leave it for 5 minutes to brew. 5, timed. We have a timer on the cooker, we time it. Then you squeeze it out with a teaspoon and you add your milk to taste. Pretty simple. How's your experience been with menopause and HRT? I'm going to focus on that separately and come back to it another time, because that is a whole series on its own. But yes, I was advised to go to decaf because of the perimenopausal symptoms, which I think I may have been experiencing when I was screaming at Joe Rogan. Do we think? HP or ketchup? Huh, HP. Ketchup on chips, HP on everything else. Who's your favourite Bond? If I could, I would show you the wall, but it's Sean Connery. I'm a Bond obsessive. Sean Connery obsessive. Not so much more recently, but Sean. Do you have any tattoos? No, and I've always thought about getting a tattoo, and then I see people with tattoos and I think, oh, I'm glad I don't have a tattoo. Older people, I mean. And then I see other people with them and I think, oh, I should have got a tattoo. So I don't. I doubt I will at this point. You know, I've got to nearly 50 without getting any, but I mean, I never say never, but I don't at this point. That's all the questions. I'm sure there'll be hundreds more, but anyway, maybe that was a bit of fun. Nice to meet you if you joined after the last video. Like I said, there won't all be me ranting and raving. There is some occasionally, usually on Instagram stories and usually at traffic. I'm going to put this up this weekend, and then after this will be retinols. I filmed it, people, it's done. I have filmed it, we have finished, it's done. Now I just have to start the 4 billion blog posts. See you soon, bye.